Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is Javier with The Real Javier Novoa, a channel and a modality where we apply the principles of philosophy, spirituality, and mysticism to rapid lifestyle transformation. And today I had a very powerful coaching call, ladies and gentlemen, with a new client. And basically what her and I went into were the whole topic of desires that had taken a very long time, desires that are still very intensely desired, and what she termed as big desires or huge desires. And also, we tackled the question of, am I doing it right? Am I applying the processes right, Javier? And if so, how would I measure that? How do I know if we're applying the processes right? So this is going to be a huge video, ladies and gentlemen, because we're going to talk about some of the basic pitfalls of manifestation, of which these two topics are at the hierarchy of that. So, first of all, when we talk about desires, ladies and gentlemen, remember that desire happens automatically when we encounter something in our life that causes us to ask. Abraham Hicks explains this well. We run into a situation in life that causes resistance, and from that resistance is spontaneously launched a rocket of desire. Now, if that were the only factor there, and if we were advanced at focusing, which we're trying to get us all to that level in our modality, then the only thing left to do would be to simply align with that desire by feeling as good as you can, by taking your mind off the problem and allowing your subconscious mind to go hunt and find the solution, so to speak. That's not even a good term, because your inner being already has the solution. Therefore, the part of your mind that's hooked into your inner being is the solution, has the solution also. But in order for it to manifest in the time-space dimension, it has to come via some path. So it will come to you in a way that you don't expect, as we've discussed before. But what is desire? Well, a desire can be interpreted in two ways, right? One of them is positive, and one of them is negative and actually works against you. And I think what the majority of people mean when they mention desire is something that they really want, something that they ascribe importance to, and something that becomes a condition of their happiness, and something that they're going out and seeking. All of these definitions of desire actually are negative because they put resistance into the mix, and they actually keep what you want from coming to you, or they keep it further away from you in time and in space. So, the good or pure meaning of desire, and the meaning that I would like to ascribe to it in our discussions and in our lessons, is that pure desire, which means that focus of the thing that you want and the state that you want, and then that you pop into, and then by getting into that state, it is allowed to come to you. In fact, Abraham Hicks has the great equation in her book, about the law of attraction, where she talks about desire plus resistance equals manifestation. I'm paraphrasing here. I think they may use different words, but basically what it means is, when most of the time when the world speaks about desire, they mean the whole left side of the equation, desire and resistance. So therefore your desire can be held from you, because based upon the amount of resistance, if that exceeds the desire, then your desire is not coming to you in time-space. There's not going to be a manifestation. If they're equal, again, you're going to be at a stalemate. If the desire is just a little bit higher, it's going to come to you, but it's going to take time and it's going to take work. What we mean by desire is simply that first part of the left side of the equation. That means the actual focusing. So therefore, as Neville said, your desire is yours the moment you conceive it, the moment you think of it. And if you think about this scientifically, physics has proven this, as we've talked about in other videos. Many other dimensions have to be posited in quantum physics simply for the equations to work. So there's proof that there are other dimensions. There's proof that your desire exists on one of those dimensions. And we are multidimensional beings, as we look at on our chart of the scale of being, which I devised early on in this channel, where we talked about a scale with divinity at the top and physicality at the bottom. Well, if you know yourself to be divinity, then you know that there's no duality. So therefore your desire cannot be separate from you. And therefore there's no time or space. So you can get into any dimension that you want immediately. That's what we teach in this channel. How do you get your desire? You give it to yourself immediately. So therefore, ladies and gentlemen, I want you to note this well. We don't have big desires on this course. That's right. Why? Because those big desires aren't even given the time or the momentum necessary to make them big desires. Of course, it is good when you increase your desire and when that momentum increases because it becomes bigger and it becomes more impactful in your life. But the majority of the time, due to our sloppy focus and sloppy thinking, as the desire increases, the resistance increases. That's why Vadim Zeland goes into very deeply in his book, Reality Transurfing, the concept of importance. See, the more importance that we ascribe to something, by default, the more momentum is pushing us away from it in time and space, what Vadim Zeland calls balancing forces, because all of nature has to be in balance, ladies and gentlemen. Just study science. You study books like the Tao Te Ching and all traditional religious texts. They talk about how the entire creation and cosmos is in balance. And that also goes into yin and yang, and it goes into ultimately the fact that there's no duality. So you can look at it as these balancing forces. Once, say, you put something on a pedestal, or once you ascribe to something a superlative level of importance, those balancing forces will come in and show you the importance that you've been ascribing that, and will usually have some kind of event that will push it further away from you, make you forget about it, make you think about something else. So as we said, we don't have very huge desires in our course, because what we teach you is the moment a desire comes into being, yes, you can go in and ratchet up that desire. You'll do that through journaling, but through your journaling, you're going to make it a very specific desire. I was just watching a video with Bruce Lipton, the great chemist and writer of many books on science and so on, and manifesting. And he was talking about the fact that, for example, he was wishing for a certain shirt. And he got that shirt, but he realized that he didn't specify the color of the shirt. So if you don't specify it, the universe will just say, okay, I'll just deliver whatever color to him or her. And sometimes this is okay. This is general creation. But the people that watch this channel, we're business people. We're advanced in the scale of manifestation. We want to have more specific desires. So what we teach in this channel is first you specify your desire. Then you go straight to that state. Once you have the specifics, and you mental rehearse that until what? Until you arrive at what Neville Goddard calls the Sabbath. And we're going to unfold this concept a little bit more. But you don't receive your desire until it ceases to become a desire. Let me repeat that to you again. You will not receive your desire until it ceases to become a desire. Now, anyone who receives a desire in the physical, they may think that they're desiring it, they're going after it, and they get the desire. But if they really look at it, it is as if it's what we talked about in a former video. You see, a desire is not one compact whole. Nothing is in the universe. Everything's divided into microscopic pieces, and even as you get lower into that, it just becomes a force field of that oneness. Well, every single desire has pieces to it. So on the path to your desire, The path is a desire in itself, and it could be seen as part of the desire itself. So as you advance down the path, you're seeing more pieces of that desire. Therefore, another piece of that ceases to be a desire. Why? Because it's satisfied. And once that's satisfied, the desire itself, quote unquote, gets leveled down. And then you focus more in on more and more specific parts of the desire. That's just naturally how we get anything that we want. What we teach you to do in this course is to bypass the long time and the long space it takes and the hard work, and just go ahead and do all of that on the front end. And as we said, this is not necessary in manifestation. This is not going to be necessary for the same person in every manifestation. For example, you may want to manifest just general well-being, and then you can just see more of that unfolding itself to you in the physical, and that's perfectly fine and beautiful. But you may desire a business, and you want to get very specific in that business. And then once you get specific about it, you start practicing yourself in the state. Now, the questioner asked me, the client was out talking to me. And of course, I never mention any of our sessions that we do in our coaching calls unless you give me express permission to do so. She was asking me, Javier, I've been doing this for a long time. I've been focusing on this certain desire for a long time. I think I'm doing it wrong. How do I know that I'm doing it correctly? First of all, the fact is that you're an eternal being and there's no duality, so you are the divine part of that scale. You can't do anything wrong. Does God have to ask, am I doing this right? How do I create this? No. You can never do it wrong, ladies and gentlemen, because if you make a quote-unquote mistake, and the only mistake would be not getting aligned with your desire, all you do is you throw more resistance in the mix, and that launches more rockets of the desire. Then your desire is specified more for you, and it's right there for you to get back in tune with. So there's no way of doing this wrong. In fact, worrying about doing it wrong keeps you out of alignment and pushes your desire further away. So I just want to get that concept of doing it incorrectly or correctly at rest, because you can never do it incorrectly. And I promise you, all of the spiritual teachers teach this. You're going to see your desire in the physical no matter what. It is coming to you. It's only a matter of how long is it going to take for you to get into alignment. How long is it going to take for you to close your umbrella against that rain of prosperity that's always coming down, against that rain of abundance that's always coming down? How long is it going to take you to believe it and to see it? So, I want to get out of this modality of doing it right or wrong, and I want to get into this modality of completion or incompletion. The finished work, ladies and gentlemen, there is a certain group of preachers, they call themselves finished work. And of course I don't agree with everything they say, but this is a very important topic. That is, in the biblical scriptural interpretations and readings, all of creation has been completed already. All of it is completed, from the beginning to the end. And this would have to be, because as God says, I'm the Alpha and the Omega. I am the beginning of the end. And of course, God is complete. Therefore, everything is complete. In Islam, we call this the divine decree, or qadr. So all of creation is complete, including all of the film rolls and all of the possibilities. They are already complete. They're pre-written and predestined. And in another video, we are going to be going into predestination or qadr. It's a very interesting topic. It's just understood incorrectly by the majority of people. But everything's complete. Therefore, all you're trying to do in this 3D world of Caesar experience is to reach that completion. What does a desire entail or imply? It implies that you're seeking the satisfaction of that desire. And that is what the great faiths call salvation. Salvation is the consummation or the completion of that desire. Now, the only thing you need to ask yourself, forget about any processes, because all of the processes can work, or all of the processes that we give can work against you, and it all depends on your feeling. But the only question you need to ask yourself is, do I feel that this desire has already been satisfied? So for example, you want a business. What we recommend is get very specific about it. Choose an aspect of that business that you can, or a few aspects of that you can focus on and get into the state of. Then you mentally rehearse the state of that business, and you give it to yourself a little bit every single day. Or you can even do this in one day or one night if you have some time, and the best time to do this before you go to sleep. And once you start feeling this is done, you'll even start feeling a certain feeling of what is relief. And when you start feeling a little bit of boredom, and this will be indicated by the fact that you'll fall asleep if you're in bed doing this, you can know that you know that you know that desire, that state is completed and consummated. Then you've done it correctly, ladies and gentlemen. You've aligned completely with your desire. And the only thing now that can hold that away from you is if you shoot yourself in the foot and screw it up by thinking about it. That's why Neville Goddard talks about the Sabbath. And what is the Sabbath? In the biblical literature, God said, 6 days shall you work, and the 7th you shall rest. This work is mental rehearsal. It's getting yourself into state, whatever you do to get yourself into that state. And once that state is complete, you rest. You take no action vis-a-vis that desire. This is very important because you're going to be taking a lot of actions. But you will take no action to consciously try to get to that desire, ladies and gentlemen. This is an important distinction. Because if you're taking action to get to the desire, that means that the desire is not complete and you are no longer in the Sabbath, or you never got to the Sabbath. That's okay. You can either then just let it go, and then it'll come to you because you've let it go consciously, but your subconscious or the vortex still has that. Know this well. And oftentimes when you let it go and forget about it, that's the best way to be in the Sabbath, and it comes to you quicker than you could expect. Or you can go back to mental rehearsal and you can play around with the scenes or the affirmations or any of the surrounding context. And we're going to train you step by step how to do this in videos that are coming up. But basically the Sabbath, you don't lift a finger to attain it. The only work that you do, it's going to be things that you do simply for the sake of the pleasure of the doing of them, or they're going to be inspired actions where you feel I need to go here and nothing can stop you from going there, and you go there. You feel good. But you never take any action toward that goal or intention in a state of lack or in a state of fear, because if you do that, you're not in the Sabbath. So how do you know that you've done it right, ladies and gentlemen? By the fact that your desire is already satisfied. You're in that state of rest, and then it's able to come to you in a way that you don't expect. And that's why, ladies and gentlemen, there are no huge desires that we're working towards in this course, because we teach you how to attain the desire immediately, the sooner the better. And you're going to watch when you follow this modality, when you actually realize that you are the process, that you can't do it wrong, and that it's only a matter of giving it to yourself now and satisfying yourself now, you're gonna see your life take off. And I've already got the testimonials pouring in, and I look forward to hearing from you in the comments. You can send me an email. You can join our Facebook group at The Real Javier Novoa. And again, I look forward to hearing your testimonials from these teachings and from these discussions that we're having. So ladies and gentlemen, we do have a lot of exciting videos coming out this week and this weekend about more of the details of how to create the life of your dreams, rapid lifestyle transformation, what to do in a world in flux. So thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe and like to our channel. It's the way that we get this information out to as many people as possible. It's the way that we get the algorithm in our favor so that we can touch lives and we can be a part of this great awakening. Also, I am doing coaching calls, as we said, where I take you hand in hand down the path of this methodology. You don't have to make the same mistakes that I made. What I took years to do, you can take weeks and months to do by learning from my mistakes and by my bringing to bear all of this material, as well as my years of experience in business and in consulting, to give you a power punch for your rapid lifestyle transformation. I will leave my email in the comments or in the description of the video so that you can give me an email. So thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, with great love and appreciation. This is Javier, and I'll see you very soon tomorrow.